All right, I'm going to do a quick video on this before we get started. Middle of the night last night, I had insomnia, but I finally passed out thanks to this. I passed out before the announcement that Canada, the U.S., and Mexico get to co-host the new World Cup in 2026. Now, anytime that you see World Cup go to a certain country, that means that country doesn't have to play its way into the World Cup. They're automatically given a spot in the World Cup. As host nation, your country qualifies. Because it's three countries, I haven't heard that regarding this tournament. Now, Mexico would have no problem getting in. None. The Americans, for the most part, do not have a problem getting in. Canada's been a disaster internationally in soccer for a very long time. And it's frustrating because you see them win a game over El Salvador or Costa Rica or somebody in that nature, and you go, maybe, and then they get drubbed by Honduras 8-1, and you go, no, never mind, never mind, never mind. It's one of those things that when I watch the World Cup, I'm thinking it would be nice to have a home country to cheer for. I usually pull for England first, and then by the time the actual playoff rounds show up, I'm pulling for Germany because England's either out or they're on their way out. Now, my opinion on the bid is this: FIFA is really an evil organization, and I don't think I'm telling any tales on that. FIFA's corruption has been written about for many years. It's been well known. It's been well documented, and it's too bad because it is an amazing tournament that apparently is going to be 48 countries strong by the time 2026 rolls around. It's 32 countries currently. It's going to be 48. I think that's going to be fine, and apparently they figured it out in the tournament bracket so that it doesn't make the tournament last any longer. I think it'll be better to see it here than whatever they do in Qatar or Qatar or however you want to pronounce it. The way I've heard it pronounced is Qatar, but I've heard Qatar. Anyways, that tournament's being held in insane heat, and so therefore they've had to move the tournament to later in the year to avoid the fact that it's too hot for soccer in the summer. The benefit of having it in North America is they don't have to build arenas. Vancouver dropped out, and I think I did a video on Vancouver dropping out. I know I discussed it. Maybe I didn't do a video on that. Vancouver dropped out of the World Cup bidding because they were afraid of FIFA adding other fees and the fact they could change the price of whatever they wanted whenever they wanted. And you know what? They do that. The International Olympic Committee is pretty bad too. I remember when the Olympic Committee came to Vancouver, there were certain businesses that were threatened with lawsuits because their name had some sort of an Olympic connotation to their name, and even though they've been in business for decades, in comes the IOC and goes, "Yeah, you got to change that." It was so dumb, and the rules FIFA puts on things, they're bad. And there are countries that have hosted the World Cup, and it's been bad for them. And it's been bad for countries that have hosted the Olympics as well. So I'm not just talking FIFA. I'm not just going to, trash on them. I'm okay with Vancouver not hosting games. It means I likely won't see them. They're going to be in Montreal, Toronto, and Edmonton, the ones that are in Canada. I'm figuring this. So it's the States, Mexico, and Canada. The States and Mexico are going to get the best games. They're going to get the biggest games. Because you can guarantee the biggest crowds for those American arenas and the Mexican arenas. The Mexican team will play their games in Mexico because that's going to be crazy nuts, just insane. The American team will play their games in the States, obviously. If Canada qualifies, that would be 3. 3 games in Canada would involve the Canadian teams out of the 10 games. Anyways, it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting tidbit. I figured I'd do, just a quick video on it. I'm cautiously optimistic. I will say this. The 1994 World Cup is a big part of the reason why MLS has become bigger. If MLS plays up the World Cup in 2026 properly, it could help their growth become more sustainable than it is, depending on who you believe about MLS's financial stability, okay? In some cases, it looks like there's everything's roses for them, and it's all up and up. And others report the only reason that the league is solvent is because of expansion fees that it charges every year to bring in new franchises. And I'm not an accountant, and I'm not in a position to actually have their books, so I don't know. But this could definitely help soccer's profile, as well as having Pele play for the New York Cosmos did in the early '80s. I'm that old. I'm that old. All right. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm gonna do a World Cup video about this year's World Cup that begins tomorrow. A quickie, and I'll let you guys know how I see it going. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happen upon this video, and this is going on my Entertainment Guy channel because it's not hockey. So even though there's hockey all over this, and I'm wearing a hockey jersey, it is Canada. So I'm wearing my country, and this is the closest I could get to a Canada hat, which technically is Canadians, which is Montreal, but it's got the globe, and it's when they were the world champs, and that's as close as I could get. Thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you again soon.